Oh yeah, the new California law. I completely forgot about that, man. Hold on. That shit rules. Oh, Fox News is mad about it.
Unmarked cars, people en masse, people quite literally disappearing, no due process, no rights in a democracy where we have rights. Immigrants have rights. And we have the right to stand up and push back. And that's what we're doing here today. This is a disgrace. This is an outrage, what we have allowed to happen in this country. And I could not be more proud of this legislature, the legislative authors, to the community demanding more from all of us at this moment to push back. I'll be signing a bill, the first in the nation, saying enough. ICE, unmask. What are you afraid of? What are you afraid of?
I wonder if they're actually going to be able to enforce this. I genuinely don't know if this... I don't know how much this tests the bounds of his legal authority. Gavin Newsom's attempt to block authorities from wearing masks during immigration enforcement operations is facing legal scrutiny as critics push back on the governor's effort to assert power over federal officers. Ban state and federal law enforcement from wearing masks on the job, a move that the Trump administration officials decried as illegal and vowed to ignore. The bill is set to take effect in January. I just don't know, like, are we going to see local police do this? Like, what are they, like, what is this going to look like? Like, federal police, like a roving car full of ICE agents gets stopped by LAPD and they're like, hey, take your masks off? I don't know how much, like, in practice this is going to happen. If I recall correctly, police can actually arrest ICE guys. Yeah, they can. But does that mean they will? Acting U.S. Attorney Bill Esseley of the Central District of California said on Fox and Friends on Monday he did not think Newsom's bill was enforceable. Governor might try to file a lawsuit, run to a judge to get some kind of order, but we're very confident. What? Wait, why would he need to get an order from a judge? The law stands for itself. What do you mean? The state of California does not and cannot have jurisdiction? Yes, it does. It's a state. It's in the state of California. Why would he need a ruling from a judge? It's already law. Likely raise the separation of powers supremacy clause. Part of the Constitution says federal law, Trump state law. Romani says while states can impose reasonable restrictions on federal law enforcement, such as traffic violations, dictating what the officers wear is different. Is it really? I don't think that's true at all. Like, the states are not allowed to prohibit the federal government from enacting the basic necessary functions of the federal government. Like, a state government cannot enact laws that prevent the FBI from doing what they want to do. But there are still, like, a lot of protections the state gets. Remember back when Texas prevented Joe Biden from accessing Texas's portion of the national border, even though Joe Biden had sent federal agents down to Texas, Greg Abbott still blocked them from actually accessing the border. Vaush, I'm an attorney for the state government. Supremacy clause will likely prohibit this because the state cannot tax or regulate federal activity. Well, but it can't regulate federal activity, but it can regulate behaviors within the state as long as it's deemed reasonable. It doesn't impede the ability of the state or the federal government to function to prevent them from wearing masks while conducting their ICE raids. So I think you could reasonably argue that it's not an essential challenge to the rights and responsibilities of the federal government. But if that's the case, that would be up to the federal government to bring a lawsuit, not Gavin Newsom.
Well, over the weekend, California became the first state to ban most law enforcement officers, including federal agents, from covering their faces during operations. So in this bill signing on Saturday, Governor Gavin Newsom said the state is pushing back against the practice of masked agents detaining people on the streets.
The impact of these policies all across this city, our state and nation are terrifying. It's like a dystopian sci-fi movie. Unmarked car.
Man, look at how much better this kid looks because he's wearing a fucking tie rather than our slob of a California governor.
People en masse, people quite literally disappearing. Immigrants have rights. And we have the right to stand up and push back. And that's what we're doing here today.
Immigration raids in Los Angeles that prompted protests and led President Trump to deploy the National Guard there. This new California law is set to take effect in January. It is, though, expected to face legal challenges.
For more on this, let's bring in NBC News legal analyst Danny Ceballos. Danny, good morning.
I guess it really will just come down to whether or not a judge considers it to be like a fundamental imposition on the federal government's ability to enforce their laws.
We are getting some pushback here from Trump administration officials, and I want to pull up also a post on X. This is from the acting U.S. attorney for the Central District of California, essentially saying the state does not have jurisdiction over the federal government and adding that the ban has no effect on their operations. Danny, is there truth to that? Can federal agents be required to follow a state's law?
No. And this is a ban that is not going to last long in the courts. I mean, this goes back to, and I can't believe I'm citing one of these cases, 1819, McCulloch v. Maryland. The Congress tried to set up a national bank, and Maryland tried to tax it. And the Supreme Court said hundreds of years ago that you can't do that as a state. You can't interfere.
That's taxing. That's different.
With federal operations when federal agents are carrying out their lawful duties under color of law. You can't regulate their uniform. You can't regulate virtually anything about what they do.
Find an existing, any existing jurisprudence saying that you can't regulate the uniform. Find that.
I'm a criminal defense attorney. I'm very aware of this. The FBI, they do what they want to do. They don't listen to local police or local laws. I mean, it's just something that
Okay, what about traffic laws? What about traffic laws? Does the federal government follow like a template of laws when it comes to how they should drive on the road that they just apply to every state regardless of what the specific rules are in that area? Federal agents are capable of violating state law. It's not like state law binds federal agents. If a federal officer goes into a state and commits a state crime, and most of the time when you commit a crime, it's under state law, they can be arrested by local police or state police. Like you could then argue like, okay, well, do you think that federal officers should be above state law then? Because what if they get charged with violating a state law while conducting a federal operation? Doesn't that impede them? Well, no, obviously, like if they commit crimes, you know, like there are chains on them. There are like bounds to their behavior.
The state of California cannot do. So will it face legal challenges? Yes. And those challenges will be successful. And, you know, I don't like to forecast one way or another. This one seems like a clear loser.
Well, yeah, what do the next steps look like here? Obviously, we assume the Trump administration wants to challenge this. How do they do that?
They go to court. Likely federal court, and I imagine they'll lose at the district court, the Court of Appeals, and then I don't even know that the Supreme Court would take it up because to me, it's a pretty clear and settled area of the law. As I said, it's one of the foundational cases that we talk about in law school, along with Marbury v. Madison. The next one you bring up is McCulloch v. Maryland, and that has been the law for centuries, literally.
Governor Newsom also signed legislation Saturday. This prevents immigration agents from entering schools, healthcare facilities without a warrant. Do undocumented immigrants have legal protections in these spaces? Do you think that is going to face any legal pushback?
Well, that's a great question, because whether or not they have protection is still separate from the issue of can the states regulate the way that federal law enforcement or federal agents carry out their duties? And the answer is probably not. Before we even reach the individual liberties of people and whether or not parents need to be notified or whether or not California can even regulate that, they probably can. They can regulate what the schools do. They can say to the schools, thou shalt notify the parents if ICE agents show up. What they can't do is tell ICE agents how to carry out their law enforcement activities. So that, too, is likely to face challenge. It's not as clearly going to be struck down as, say, regulating face masks, but I think it's also likely to get struck down as well.
We'll have to see. Genuinely, I think that you can make an argument in both directions.